Okay, I think we can get this party started. So, Pete, why don't you introduce yourself quickly for people who might not know you, and Jenna, you can follow it. And for people who don't know me, I'm Eric, and I'm the head of partnership and marketing here at Simplesat, and I will be your host tonight. Pete, take us away.
Good day, everyone. I'm Peter, a product expert / account manager at Simplesat. So I do product demo, onboarding, and CSM tasks. So looking forward to this webinar today and happy to be here.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Pete. And hey, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. For those that don't know me, my name is Jenna Schrenard, owner of JC Marketing Group, and I am located, as I said, in the state of Maine. I've had the pleasure of working with a handful of MSPs for over 6 years now, and I'm excited to dive into some best practices in marketing to help get that brand awareness and that lead generation on a consistent basis. And I really just want to share my experiences and some examples of email campaigns. So that's what I'll be doing today.
Awesome. Can't wait for it. Okay. So let's see, let me take control. Oops, I went a little bit too fast here. So for some of you here in attendance who might not know about Simplesat, so Simplesat is your MSP's all-in-one customer feedback solution. We can help you with ticket CSATs, quarterly NPS emails. We have direct notification for Slack and MS Teams. You can also use us to automate Google 5 stars review. And thanks to customizable, fun surveys and fun designs, you can ensure that you will have higher response rate for CES, NPS, CSAT, and 5-star surveys. A little bit of housekeeping here. If you want to get access to the slides and the slide deck from tonight, you can use this QR code. You can also send an email. If for some reason this QR code is not working for you, you can send me an email, putting it here in the chat, eric@simplesat.io. This webinar is being recorded right now. So don't worry, if you cannot stay until the end, you will have the recording and you can share that with your colleagues as well. Make sure to use the chat or the Q&A to drop any questions you have. It can be questions about email marketing because this is the main topic tonight. But if you have any marketing questions, Jenna is here to help you. And if you have questions about Simplesat or how to use surveys in your practice, also let us know. And Pete will be here to answer the questions at the end. Some of them maybe will go through the webinar, but everything will be answered before the end. And make sure to stay until the end because we're going to share with you a free marketing checklist, thanks to Jenna, to help you get a strong start to 2024. And without further ado, I'm going to let Jenna take us away and introduce everything you need to know about marketing and specifically email marketing. Jenna.
All right. Thanks, Eric. So first things first, I'll start with saying one of the biggest themes I've noticed is the rise of human-to-human marketing. So we have the B2B and the B2C mindsets, of course, but consider the rise of H2H. The MSPs that are focusing on the human side of communication and all of its imperfection, empathy, and simplicity are seeing better engagement rates. So I think it boils down to the fact that people need to resonate with your brand before they buy from you. And even in today's digital age and the way technology continues to transform how we interact with each other, the human element remains crucial to really build more authentic and meaningful connections. And then, of course, satisfied customers are more likely to share positive experiences. So word of mouth marketing comes a lot more natural. So if you keep a focus on like the human side of marketing and you pair that with the sales mindset, you then get a synchronized selling strategy. And based on my experience, I will say the most value in a marketing plan comes from having those regular weekly meetings with sales, continuing to generate content for sales enablement, whether it be email campaigns or infographics or brochures, and just ensure there is ongoing communication so you can keep a close pulse on where you're seeing the most engagement. So simply asking the sales team, which MQLs are you seeing the easiest conversion on, and then tracking back which tactic they came from and documenting those trends on a regular basis. So with that in mind, on the next slide, another visual that I like to share is this marketing funnel. Hopefully it helps paint the picture on the marketing and sales synergy that your team should strive for. The top of the funnel is the awareness stage, and you're telling the world your why and you're building trust. You're doing this through a variety of marketing tactics. The discovery phase is when your marketing has compelled the person to want to explore further and learn more about your MSP, and they have taken some form of action, whether it be downloading a resource or filling out a form. The intent stage is where the sales team starts to take the rein and create urgency and follow up to keep the needle moving, set that appointment, have a discovery call and present. And then ideally the new client phase is next and you're on to onboarding. When you've reached the level of having raving fans, you can continue to work together in marketing and sales to drive referrals, explore opportunities for upsell, cross-sell, and nurture your existing accounts. So on the next slide, you'll see there are so many different tactics that are out there. But these are the big players that drive the best results. And in order to have a well-oiled marketing machine, it's important to have different channels working seamlessly together. So the first tactic, of course, is email marketing, which is our focus today. And I'll provide some examples here shortly, but it's really a chance for you to deliver targeted messages to your active clients, your warm prospects, or even brand new cold lists that you've generated. But it's a chance to get right in front of them in their inbox. The key is to not overwhelm your lists and provide them something of actual value. It could be an email about a free cybersecurity self-assessment or a newsletter with company updates that really impact the customer experience. But the more personalized and creative, the better if you really want to stand out in their inbox. And then, of course, we have social media, the most influential space to boost your brand. I did a presentation a couple years ago, and the statistic at the time was 40% of the world was using social media. Now it's over 70% of the world. So platforms are becoming more robust. They're competing with each other. There's better organic features than ever on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube that you can start using to immediately start driving more traffic to your business. But with more social media users, it also brings on more noise. So I'm finding the more you post on a weekly basis and the more you encourage your team to like, comment, share your posts, the better engagements that you're going to see, and you won't get lost in the feed. LinkedIn, I would say, is the biggest player for MSPs, and it's not just consistent posting to the company page, but also the sales teams that are focusing on social selling and direct messages are seeing good response rates. Recent data from Channel Futures says that 87% of people will answer a social media DM over an email or a phone call. So it's less invasive, it's easier for most people. So with all the things that you can do with social media, I would definitely prioritize 1, your personal brand and being a thought leader, and 2, creative posts, LinkedIn contests, raffles, and community shoutouts. If you know of some key centers of influence in your target market, start engaging with their content too, especially for MSPs, for example. It's really relevant for you to connect with an insurance firm right now for all things cyber insurance and kind of be that go-to resource that they can recommend to their networks. That cross promotion is sure to help bring brand awareness and lead generation on a larger scale. And then next we have blogging on this page. So that's another great way to drive more web traffic and provide additional resources. For example, you could send out an email campaign trying to sell security awareness training and then link to a blog post about the rise of AI tools and hackers having more believable phishing attempts to really back up the fact that we need to continue to stay alert in today's landscape. We need to get straight to the point and show where the value and importance is in all of our content. And with that, your blog also helps a lot with SEO, and it helps to add context and further educate your audience. We also have channel marketing, another great tactic with the end goal to leverage the great partnerships that you have with your vendors and earn market development funds, also known as MDF, to help expand your reach even further. It benefits both parties involved, and it also provides good intel for your marketing team when they have conversations with vendors about what's hot right now, what's trending. And it's all about creating the right proposal to the vendor that highlights the marketing task and the ROI that you hope to achieve. I think a lot of us see the most success with leveraging MDF for like in-person events, but you can leverage it for webinars because it gives you the opportunity to be really creative around incentives to help drive appointments as well. I've used MDF for social media ads, email campaigns, Google ads, and even support for marketing lead generation tools. There are just so many vendors willing to help with promotion if you have a marketing person heavily focused on this area. So I strongly recommend having this be part of your marketing plan for the new year. We talked about the website and SEO being your home base, especially for your emails to drive people to learn more about you, but sales or brand collateral is another strong way to educate the audience. I make it my focus to have a one-pager or an infographic or some resource created to go along with every email campaign I create so I can ensure the audience has a place to go for more information, and so does the sales team when I'm providing them with MQLs that they need to follow up with. And when your collateral speaks to your brand, it's visually appealing and concise, easy to read, people will resonate with that. The selling naturally happens after you build that trust with them, so be as timely and targeted as you can when creating new brand collateral, and don't stop because content generation is something that has to be there if you want consistent brand identity. I'd even encourage having a shared drive or an area that everyone in the company knows about so they can access grab and go content that's going to help them in their role as well. And lastly, here we have public relations and events. So when your business is winning awards or recognitions of any sort, it helps with overall reputation and building trust. And a lot of times when you apply for an award, like through CRN, for example, the first thing they will do is look at your digital presence to learn more about you and your credibility. I have had PR contacts personally tell me they look at your website, your social media, your emails, and more to see how legitimate your business is before qualifying you. So just something to keep in mind as you're leveraging each of these tactics. And I will say in-person events are definitely back in action. And I think everyone is excited about that. I've been seeing after hours networking at popular venues, movie premiere events, whiskey tastings, customer appreciation, and a lot more. It's great to see the ROI that's coming from these events too, which actually supports our point of human to human marketing. People want to feel connected, and the more creative you can get with events, the better. But moving forward, I want to place an extra emphasis on email marketing best practices, of course, for MSPs. So there are some great tools you should consider having in place if you want to have a streamlined email campaign strategy. The first recommendation is HubSpot, which gives you the ability to integrate directly into ConnectWise or your internal CRM, and you can set up personalized workflows and lead scoring models based on the behaviors of your contacts and the actions that they are taking. So HubSpot's user-friendly interface and reporting features also empower us as marketers to look at the metrics that matter. I personally like to focus on total MQLs, where those MQLs are coming from, such as who is downloading resources and visiting our website, and what campaign message catapulted that. It can really become your central hub for all essential marketing activities, with email campaigns and your mailing list really leading the charge. On the next slide, we have the alternative to HubSpot, or you could say a more cost-effective option depending on your budget, and that's ActiveCampaign. So similar to HubSpot, it has the ability for you to create workflows and lead scoring. It also has integration with your CRMs and social media networks. The visual automation builder simplifies the process of really designing complex email campaigns, so making it easy for anyone on your marketing and sales team. In that example, you can see a workflow was created based on the behavior of someone visiting the website. The contact visits the web page, ActiveCampaign waits 1 hour, sends them a personalized email prompting them to learn more, gives some time for the email to be opened and clicked, and then notifies the sales team based on if they engaged or not. So there are many lead scoring models out there, but I would say lead scoring in your email campaigns is a crucial factor for several reasons. It helps us prioritize and focus our marketing efforts on leads that are more likely to convert into customers. So ultimately improving the effectiveness of all of our email campaigns. On the flip side, it helps in identifying leads that may need further nurturing or may not be a good fit for the current campaign, allowing marketers to really allocate our resources wisely. And lastly on this, I would say lead scoring contributes to better collaboration between marketing and sales teams, which goes back to where we started the conversation around marketing and sales alignment. So when you have one of these email tools in place, whether it be HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, or something similar, you really open up your options and have more opportunities to reach more people. I've used mailing list generators such as ZoomInfo or Seamless AI to work in tandem with these platforms too. The goal is to just keep feeding these machines with as much quality contacts and messages as possible. On the next slide, I have another example from ActiveCampaign, and this is for an email campaign for an MSP in Buffalo with a focus on password hygiene. So you can see the email on the left has a header image for visual appeal that clearly states the topic. We're leading with offering a free resource for password tips with the option to download an infographic, which we hope prompts someone to visit our website or contact us to learn more about cybersecurity. On the right, you'll see the workflow I created that will tell us if someone does follow through with the action. And from there, there's appropriate tagging and notifications to keep us have a close pulse on that lead. So while it seems like there are so many kind of steps here to creating an email workflow and lead scoring models that work, it's worth creating them and testing them to fine tune as you need to, because then you can almost set it and forget it. And it's a consistent part of your email strategy going forward. On the next slide, I have an example.
Yeah, so sorry, Jenna, I do have a question here. So for specific campaigns like that, how are you targeting your leads? So who are you sending this email campaign to?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of MSPs segment their lists based on like their active clients that they want to upsell, cross-sell, or even just help educate. But they also have prospect lists, which you can either have from just building up over time, but also to build with like ZoomInfo or Seamless AI or any of those other tools. So I would say for this campaign, it went out to active clients, but it also went out to a prospect list of about 10,000 people. So then from there, you can kind of funnel and see who's engaging and who you want to reach out to from that point.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, on the next slide, I have an example of an MSP that hosts a monthly webinar series. So I simply wanted to surface this to show you how marketing emails can drive registration and attendance to webinars, but also support your follow-up strategy. So one of the biggest pain points I've heard from MSPs is the follow-through after an event has taken place. I like to use emails to not only send the webinar recording, but also drive traffic to a landing page on our website where we give something away. In this case, it was a free AI policy template. If it's a topic that people care about and that has a lot of buzz right now, you'll generate interest and you'll be able to capture that interest and see who downloads it, which can send you down a whole nother campaign path, like I just was mentioning. So for example, those that are interacting the most with cybersecurity content like this can be put on an email drip about cybersecurity that focuses more on your key offerings, and that can go to both clients and prospect lists. And I will say, leading with thought leadership and free resources in your email campaigns is also another main lead generator. I highly recommend a regular cadence of webinars with your key vendors and getting the CEO in front of people. It generates a lot of great activity as well. On the next slide, as we make our way through more email campaign examples, I wanted to share this MSP who has a monthly newsletter, which is the image on the left. That's just the top of the newsletter, but it gives you a sense of the overall look and feel. We prioritize company updates, ways to connect with us on social media, recent customer testimonials, employee spotlights, and free IT resources. Of all the different style email campaigns you can do, whether it be newsletters, event invites, or one-off targeted campaigns, I would say newsletters get the highest open and click rates, and that's steady across the industry. I think when you're swimming in a sea of MSPs, the way to stand out is to add a creative flair to your newsletter and make sure it really speaks to you and your team. I also wanted to share a timely and targeted campaign, especially with it being end of the year right now, and that's the image on the right. We sent this out right before Halloween this year, but you could adjust the messaging to focus strictly on end of the year. And the main message here is to revamp your tech and save on taxes. So your clients will appreciate learning about tax deduction 179 and the eligible items you can upgrade if you want to experience really good savings. This is just a one-off campaign, like I said, but I've seen it lead directly to quick transactions and new projects for MSPs. The next slide ties in market development funds. So the MDF you can get from your vendors to plug into your email campaigns or any marketing activity that you're doing. Here we built a landing page that had a special giveaway where we raffled off Buffalo Bills NFL tickets. But to be eligible, you had to request an appointment with the team or purchase any IT equipment. This had a series of email campaigns that went out to educate about the technology in this Tech to Protect contest, such as like endpoint protection, multi-factor authentication from WatchGuard, who sponsored this one. And this actually generated $62,000 in sales, 16 new clients, and a sales pipeline of $125,000. So depending on where your MSP is located, be thinking about creative contests you can do in your email campaigns in the new year as well. Lastly, I want to cover some must-haves for your marketing plan in 2024. So when creating any marketing plan, it's essential to understand your target audience. We need to clearly segment the audience based on demographics, psychographics, behavioral patterns, and really develop a detailed buyer persona representing your ideal customers. So I like to start with answering the question, so what? Why is this person going to care about what I offer? You have to relate to their experience, their pain points, and the goals they're responsible for at their organization. For example, a CFO cares about compliance and longevity of the organization, so you'll want to tailor your content towards ensuring data security, with the right technology solutions. While an IT director might be focused more on pain points to do with like legacy systems and talent management, overburdened staff. So your content focus can be more on IT support and efficient solutions. So I'd consider adding each of those personas in your marketing content calendar to make sure they stay front of mind whenever you're creating new email campaigns. And in your marketing plan, you'll also want to consider tactics and tools to keep what works, but also know when to pivot. So this is where marketing analytics are your best friend, and tracking carefully throughout the year makes all the difference. Identify what strategies are working, what isn't working through some A/B testing, and try some different ad copies, visuals, landing pages, and email subject lines to determine what resonates the best with your audience. There's a common challenge in the marketing world where you can fall into the same patterns and not keep up with the changing behaviors. So be ready to pivot your tactics if you notice shifts in customer behavior or new opportunities in the market. In terms of timelines and sharing content calendars with your team, if you don't have one already, create a content calendar that outlines your marketing activities over a specific period of time, whether it's monthly or quarterly. Share this calendar with your team to ensure everyone has visibility into the content releases and important dates. And when the sales and leadership team have eyes on what's going on, they can help expand your reach even further. We already touched on human-to-human marketing today. At the end of the day, people relate to people. So approach your marketing efforts with empathy and a customer-centric mindset. Crafting personalized messages and offers will get their attention much more than a generic email blast. Sometimes in marketing, I think we can get in the outreach or hunting mentality, just trying to get someone to take an action. And we can easily forget there should be a two-way communication with your audience, such as commenting on their social media posts or responding to their email campaigns, actively responding to feedback to build that connection even faster. Another key component is budget to ensure detailed allocation and resources. So allocate your marketing budget strategically, considering the channels and tactics that have shown the best ROI. Prioritize high impact activities while also allocating some resources for some new ideas in the new year. And last but not least, focus on the metrics that matter the most. So prioritize KPIs that align with your marketing objectives. Common KPIs include open and click rates for email campaigns, marketing qualified leads, lead conversion rates, and customer acquisition costs. So if you have a steady pulse on those areas, you will maintain marketing and sales alignment a lot more fluently. So on the next slide, I know that's a lot to unpack, but the biggest takeaway I have is that now is a great time to button up your marketing plan, not just for prospecting, but also for nurturing your existing clients and opportunities for upsell and cross-sell in 2024. So email campaigns can be a great tactic to lead the charge and really generating more activity for your MSP, but happy to answer any other questions, but for now, I'll hand it back over to the Simplesat team.
Thank you so much, Jenna. So in terms of nurturing your existing clients, we all know that not all our clients interact with our support team every now and then. Some are just silent subscribers. They could be happy or they could be on the verge of canceling. And sometimes we may have a high score with our CSAT surveys, but we still can't figure out how in the world are we getting a lot of cancellation. So to make sure that the churn rate is still in control, it's important to have another survey coming out quarterly or end of the year that is different from your end of transaction surveys. And in terms of the frequency, it doesn't have to be quarterly or yearly survey, but you can also explore on different sending frequencies depending on certain factors, such as how often you send marketing emails or schedule of your product updates and releases. Because again, one thing to keep in mind about sending these communications is, as Jenna said, you don't want, or you wanted to avoid email fatigue with your clients. And on the next slide, so in addition, you could actually add a survey embed onto your marketing emails too, aside from your regular NPS, for example, that's being sent out quarterly or yearly to help out or to help capture your audience sentiment on your recent marketing communication. So whether the content was helpful or whether it's relatable or not. So at least your marketing team can also fine tune and improve on any succeeding communications that they'll have to send out. Yep. And on to the next slide. So of course, you'd as the saying goes, if you have it, flaunt it. So on the next few slides, here are some tips on how you can leverage your positive reviews as part of your marketing content. So first one, make sure to create compelling success stories. So once you start receiving reviews, make sure to identify who are the promoters, who are your raving fans, as what Jenna was talking about earlier. Who are these raving fans that you can reach out to? Your marketing team can contact and a request for a short interview. Probably having a video interview would be nice as well with all the transcript, and make sure to publish that on your website for all your customers to see. And in addition to that, on the next slide, don't forget to advertise your good reviews as well. So not just your your raving fans, but also all the positive comments or reviews that you're getting from your surveys, either it be a transactional one or your NPS surveys. So that at least you can use that and leverage that as part of your marketing tool, and add that to kind of boost your engagement as well. And lastly, for more 4 and 5-star reviews, make sure to also include a link after every end of the survey, routing them to any public review pages that your company owns too. So at least they can also give you more stars on those pages too. And I hope these additional tips would help you with your marketing plans in 2024, and just handing it over to Eric.
Yes, thank you, Pete. Thank you, Jenna. I've got one question, and now is the time if you have questions, put them in the chat or in the Q&A to get them answered. Again, it can be about anything that's been discussed today. But I had a question for you, Jenna, about based on your experience working with MSPs, what do you see as the biggest mistakes that MSP might be doing, especially, I mean, with marketing in general or specifically with email marketing?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, like the don'ts, because we talked about the do's, but not so much about the don'ts. So what kind of mistakes do you see happening out there?
Absolutely, yeah. And there's a lot of common pain points that I definitely have seen with marketing plans. I would say the lack of consistency. So with marketing, I always say to have that well-oiled marketing machine, you really do have to have a consistent approach and a multi-channel approach, which is why I wanted to make sure I touched on, social media, your website, your SEO, your ads, nurturing your existing clients as well. Because it's not just prospecting and it's not just email campaigns. All of these things have to be working cohesively together. So I would say the biggest mistake a lot of MSPs make is kind of going after one shiny object. Instead of making sure that all of these different channels are working in tandem together, and then also that marketing and sales are aligned in all the different campaigns so that they are putting out on a consistent basis as well.
Okay, and I have another question. So I'm thinking, like, if I'm a small MSP, right, I don't have a big budget for marketing. So what do you think the main focus should be for MSPs who might not have a marketing team, might not even have big budget for like running ads or the likes. And I mean, creating content can be cheaper than spending ads money, but at the same time, it's also very resources heavy. And when you're out there, like visiting clients, you don't really have time. So like time can be scarce, budget can be scarce. So what do I do as an MSP owner to like, do my marketing work? Or where should I put most of my efforts?
Absolutely. That's another great question. I would say, outsourcing marketing is actually really cost effective in a lot of ways. I would definitely start with like the thought leadership side of the business. So something that I actually do with a lot of the teams that I work with is I work with the CEO very closely, kind of hand in hand, to make sure that we start building up brand awareness for them. So whether that be through LinkedIn posts, I would say social media is a great place to start, dripping the seeds out there, to start building up your awareness. And then as you ramp up and you start to see some inbound leads coming in, of course, you can build up your different tactics from there, to be more consistent posts to the company page, and then more email campaigns, maybe leveraging more tools. I will say things like ActiveCampaign that I showed are right around like $200 a month versus a HubSpot that starts around $800 a month. So there's options that are out there that do a lot of the same features. It's a matter of talking to the marketing experts that have kind of tried them all and tested everything to figure out kind of what makes the most sense based on where you are in the marketing journey. But that's something that I'm always happy to help with, and definitely would offer, a free consultation to anyone who's interested in kind of just having a discovery call to figure out what have you tried in marketing, and then kind of paint the picture on like that proven process that does exist in the MSP space, and figure out exactly kind of where your needs need to start, because everyone is very different. But I would say starting with that thought leadership, CEO front of mind, thought leadership on social media especially, is probably the best place to start, and then building out into your email campaigns, and always making sure that your website is your home base and that that's updated on a regular basis as well. If you have those kind of three components working together, you should see a steady traction with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think LinkedIn is still one of the best places to do so, especially personal profile more than the company page. I think company page actually probably don't need to spend too much time on it unless you do have resources to do so. But if you don't have time or resources, I think working on your own personal page of people in the company, I think that's a big one. And also just commenting, and because you see a lot of those MSP influencers out there that have thousands of followers. So like, commenting on their post and really be part of the community. And there's a lot of community out there too, some big Slack community as well that you can join. Okay, great. Thank you, Jenna. So is there any other questions in the chat or in the Q&A? Now is the time before we move on. I know Jenna mentioned the 1 hour free discovery call. We actually have a poll later, and you can check the box if you'd like to take Jenna up for offer for the 1 hour free discovery call. Okay, if there is no question now, I'm gonna launch actually that poll that I was just telling you about. So let me find this button, and I'm gonna launch it right now. And of course, you can still send us your questions as well. By the way, you mentioned how HubSpot is expensive, Jenna. It is actually quite expensive, but they have so many ways to actually pay way less than the price tag on the website. If you reach out to their team in the negotiation, you can say like, if you're like a small company, I mean, they really are very flexible with the pricing. So you can really get away with paying way less than the actual price. You can probably get away with paying 200 or 300 like for active campaign, at least for the first year. So if you guys want to try the HubSpot, don't forget to negotiate. They are very, very open and very flexible. The sales team is usually very open to all of that. Okay, so I see people starting to answer the poll. Great. So keep them coming. We have another webinar in January. We'll keep on doing this monthly webinar. So at the end of the poll, there's also a question if you want us to add you directly to the list for our next webinar. This way you are being added on the calendar immediately. So don't hesitate to do that as well. I'm going to give you everybody another 10 seconds before I end the poll.
And Eric, it looks like we have a question once you're ready with that.
Yes. I'm going to end the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's go for the question from Richard. Have you seen success with any certain vendors covering your monthly services with MDF?
Yes, absolutely. So I would say the big ones are WatchGuard, Kaseya, Datto, Scale Computing, SonicWall, Fortinet. Those are probably the ones that come to mind. You can definitely get some MDF funding to help supplement costs through, Microsoft, Acronis, any of those other kind of A-list vendors that I know are pretty popular, with MSPs. I would say the biggest thing is, like I mentioned briefly on the MDF campaign side of things, is having someone in your organization that can really run with the MDF side of things. So that's something that I've been helping a lot of teams with, is figuring out who are your A-list vendors, setting up those cadence calls with them to build the relationships, showing your marketing strategy that you have, and then they're going to be willing to, give you that funding to help supplement costs. So I would say those are kind of the big 5 right now, but I'm very familiar with all the vendors in the network.
And I think this is something we discussed internally with you, Jenna. We might actually do a roundtable or a small webinar around MDF too, specifically on that. So if people are interested to learn more about MDF, stay tuned, because I'm guessing end of Q1 we might do a roundtable with only about MDF Q&A, because I know for some MSPs it's not very clear how they can use it, what can they do, so it's I think it's a very interesting topic, and we'll dig deeper. But of course, if anybody else has questions about MDF right now, feel free to ask the questions too right now, or about anything that's been discussed today. I think it's a time for sharing the bonus. So if you use your phone, and the QR code will send you directly to the website. But I think what you can do, Jenna, if you don't mind, you can also share the link in the chat here for everybody, because just in case the QR code is not always working for everybody. So feel free to put the link in the chat. This link will bring you to a landing page. You just fill in the form with your name, and then you'll receive the free marketing checklist that JC Marketing put together.
Absolutely. I just got that in the chat right now. Perfect.
Yeah, I see that Ari told us that the address is not found on the QR code. So go in the chat, everybody. The address is there. And if the QR code is not working, what we're going to do probably is we're going to change it after the webinar, because if you want the slides, and if people have requested the slides, you will have the right QR code with the slides. So don't worry if it's not working right now. We're going to change it. And if you want access right now, you can just copy paste the link that Jenna just shared in the chat. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Massive thank you to Jenna again. I think it was a great webinar, a lot of good content here. Thank you, Pete. This was Pete's first webinar, team. So he did awesome. I don't know what you guys thought about him, but I thought he did an awesome job. So congrats, Pete. And we'll definitely have you back. And Jenna, of course, you too. I'm going to wish everybody to spend awesome holidays at the end of this year. and get ready for 2024. I'm sure it's going to rock for everybody. And we hope to see you again for our next webinars in January and onwards. Okay, have a good day, everybody, or good night for people around my side of the world. And I'm going to see you soon next year.
Have a good day,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank you.